It was a clear morning in February 2006 when a Taiwanese long-line vessel, the Beluga, spotted something unusual drifting along a quiet patch of the Pacific Ocean. At first, the crew thought it was debris, maybe a broken fishing platform or a cargo container. The waves were calm, the sky empty, and the drifting object moved slowly, almost peacefully, carried by the current. But as they approached, they realized it wasn't debris at all. It was a ship, a 60-meter fishing vessel, intact, undamaged, and moving with the gentle push of the sea. The Beluga crew tried radioing it. No response. They circled around, expecting to see people on deck. Someone working, someone watching, someone alive. But the deck was empty. Ropes lay piled neatly. Nets were rolled and secured. There were no signs of fire, storm damage, or collision. The ship looked paused, like whoever had been on board had stepped away for a moment and never returned. When they finally came close enough to read the name painted across the hull, several crew members felt chills ripple through their bodies. The ship was called the High Aim 6. It had been missing for weeks. Its last communication had been faint and chaotic, a routine position update that ended abruptly mid-sentence. After that, radio silence. Search teams looked for it, but the ocean is vast. Nothing surfaced. Nothing drifted in. Nothing washed ashore. Until now, as the Beluga drew alongside, they noticed something strange. The High Aim 6 was riding high on the water, as if it was unusually light. That made no sense for a boat of its size. Vessels don't rise unless they're empty, or nearly so. When the first boarding team stepped onto the deck, they were met with an eerie stillness. No footsteps, no humming generators, no voices, just the groaning of metal shifting with the waves. The interior told an even stranger story. There were tools laid out in perfect order in the engine room. A pot of rice still sat on the stove, hardened but recognizable. Personal belongings were scattered around cabins. Shoes tucked neatly by bunks, jackets folded, toothbrushes on sinks. Nothing looked stolen. Nothing looked rushed. Nothing looked wrong, except for the one thing missing. The entire crew, 10 men, gone without a trace. There were no signs of a struggle. No blood. No broken glass. No torn clothing. No emergency distress signal recorded. Every lifeboat was still attached. Safety gear was untouched. It was as if the men had simply walked off the ship into the open ocean, hundreds of kilometers from land. Investigators later reported something even stranger. The engine was in working condition. There was fuel, there was food, there was water. Nothing was sabotaged, nothing jammed. The ship had been abandoned voluntarily or impossibly. When the Coast Guard took custody of the vessel, they began looking for clues. The logs were intact but ended abruptly. The final entry contained no warnings, no other concerns, no suspicious vessels nearby. Just numbers, coordinates, routine data, and then nothing. Authorities discovered that the ship's owner, a Taiwanese man named Chun, had tried contacting the crew multiple times after the disappearance. He managed to reach only one person, the chief engineer. The man answered his phone once, days after the ship was last seen, but the line was filled with static. Chun said the voice was shaky, frightened, and repeating the same word over and over. Leave. No one knows what he meant. Leave what? Leave where? Leave who? Before Chun could ask, the call cut abruptly. The engineer's phone was never active again. The investigation deepened. Authorities tracked down the families of the missing men. No one had heard from them. No strange behavior. No warnings. No signs of mutiny. Their salaries hadn't been withdrawn. Their passports had not been used. Their accounts remained untouched. If the crew abandoned the ship voluntarily, they vanished without using anything available to survivors. The ocean gave no answers. Experts examined the hull and found no damage from rogue waves, pirates, or storms. The cargo was intact. The fishing lines were unused. Weather records showed clear skies. Nothing about the High Aim SX's disappearance made sense. Some investigators suspected poisoning, but blood tests on samples found on board showed no contaminants. Others thought they may have been abducted, but there was no sign of forced entry or violence. And if pirates had attacked, why leave a fully operational ship worth millions? Then another detail emerged. The ship had drifted more than 1,000 kilometers from where it was last recorded. Yet, during that drift, no one had seen it. Not a single radio operator, vessel, or patrol reported contact. It was as if it crossed the Pacific, cloaked in invisibility, until the moment it wanted to be found. When forensic teams scanned the bridge, they found one final anomaly. The emergency beacon had been manually disabled, not broken, not malfunctioning. Switched off. Why would a crew in trouble shut off a device designed to save their lives? There were whispers among the investigators, rumors of a fight, panic on board, hallucinations, a sudden mass psychosis from toxic fumes. But again, every test on the ship came back clean. No chemicals, no pathogens, no evidence. The Pacific has a long memory, and yet it kept this one secret buried. Months later, one final piece surfaced. An Indonesian fisherman claimed he had seen several men floating on debris weeks before the ship was discovered. He tried approaching them, but they paddled away from him, terrified, shouting in a language he didn't understand. He believed they were fleeing something, running from a very ocean itself. When asked to describe their faces, he struggled. He said they looked empty, like they had seen something that had hollowed them out. His testimony was impossible to verify. To this day, the fate of the High Aim 6 crew remains a haunting mystery. No bodies were recovered. No definitive theory has ever gained acceptance. The ship now exists in maritime archives as a modern ghost story, one without pirates, storms, or monsters. Just a silent boat carrying the weight of unanswered questions. Ships don't sail themselves. Crews don't disappear without reason. But sometimes the ocean decides what stories it keeps for itself. And when it returns a ship without the people who should be on it, it's rarely an accident. The High Aim 6 drifted for weeks under silent skies. But what happened in the hours before its crew vanished remains locked in the vast, dark heartbeat of the Pacific. And out there, beyond the horizon, ships still disappear. Not into storms, not into reefs, but into silence.